Good morning, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar. My name is Niklas Lindvall. I'm located in Sweden. I'm working in our manufacturing team at Eviden, and I will be the moderator for this session. And today's webinar is brought to you in partnership with Siemens. So together we will be sharing insights, expertise and solution on how smart manufacturing can drive operational excellence in the manufacturing sector today. And before we dive in, I'd like to share that this session will be recorded, and there will be a Q&A session at the end of the presentation. So please submit all of your questions in the chat. So let's have a look at the agenda. Andreas Schreiber, colleague from Eviden, head of global solution and strategy, will start with why not to wait, starting the smart manufacturing journey. Then we will have Timo Vuoreninen, portfolio development executive at Siemens, who will talk about the Siemens and Eviden partnership. We then have Juha Lunka and Mikko Sörén from Eviden, who will talk about the manufacturing operation management in small and mid-sized companies, and we will also have a demo. And then we have Sylvain Caroux, who will talk about some of our success stories. And then we will follow up with a Q&A session in the end. So, with no further delay, please, Andreas.
Okay, Niklas, thank you very much. So my task is a little bit to motivate why right now it's a very good time to start with the smart factory engagement. We already did many implementations in industry, process industry, as well as discrete manufacturing. You will see some of these implementations today, and I would like to guide a little bit then to the following chapters. So first, my name is Andreas Schreiber. I'm sitting here in the south of Germany in the Munich office. So in the digital age, manufacturing companies face several business challenges, and you will know them better than me, probably, just to mention a couple on the slide. Rising input costs, these went up since Corona, time duration, but now also pretty much impacted by tax discussions, also being impacted again with the change in the US government in a couple of weeks. We have market and supply chain volatility. 77% of mid-sized manufacturing business faces see persistent disruptions in their supply chain. We have increasing demand for new products, and if you don't meet this demand in the market, then of course you're earning less. In this case, 34% down if you're not able to match the time to market expectations of your customers. We have a spiraling supply chain complexity, up 22%. Plus topics like decarbonization that is required, changing import taxes, skills gap, increasing regulations, aging workforce, and so on. So there are many reasons to invest in new technologies to deal with this type of challenges. If you go to the next slide, then we see what needs to be changed is first moving physical processes to digital replicas. This is, for example, pretty much reflected by the Siemens digital thread concept. We have to overcome siloed processes, move them to connected automation. So I have a very long past in PLM and manufacturing execution. I see especially also in this integration between PLM and manufacturing operations management, many challenges and also many benefits to invest there to better integrate the applications that are used in these silos. We have to come from reactive analysis to manufacturing intelligence. Typical examples to go from preventive maintenance to predictive maintenance, and we have to change business concepts. For example, instead of selling products, selling services, outcome-based business models. How we are doing this, or how Smart Factory or Industry 4.0 are helping us. On this slide, you can see many technical buzzwords, use cases that we summarize under Smart Factory or Industry 4.0. I will not have the time to talk about all of them, just picking on three. On the left upper side, you have this intelligent supply chain, considering risks like break into container, temperature limit violation, shock situation that impact sensitive goods. Just to observe the product and the way, and also to guide the truck driver or the ship or the airplane, for example, to connect all this information to have exactly the point of arrival in my manufacturing processes. Another topic is the connected worker, not only giving him tools into his hands to work more efficient, but also observe risky or even dangerous situations to make the workplace more efficient and also safer. And AI, Gen AI, of course, everybody is talking about it. One use case that we are implementing is in product quality by using insights and lots of historical data in order to get better forecast information and better quality result in your production processes at the end. So what can we gain out of a smart manufacturing investment? These numbers are here coming from a McKinsey report, but we also saw this type of savings in many of the implementations that we are undergoing right now. Just to begin a couple of examples, inventory hoarding cost reduction, and this is coming, for example, in connection with the supply chain management use case I explained before, minus 15 to 20%, labor productivity increase, for example, by connected worker, up to 30%, machine downtime reduction, up to 50%, throughput increase 30%, forecasting accuracy improvements 85%, everything related to AI and Gen AI, and cost of quality improvement up to 20%. I think these are quite impressive numbers, and later on I will also have a concrete customer KPI numbers that we can also then discuss together. This is coming now when to start with a smart factory implementation. These are clusters, and you can also summarize a couple of topics under these clusters. Yeah, just changing with the significant business change. A positive change might be the success of a new product in the market, and there's a big customer demand, and you have to react to this. But it could be also the high volatility with regards to the inflation situation, which is also impacting your business and needs some new solutions. On the right side, we have then rapid growth. This is a good initiator to rethink processes, concepts, and architectures in order to meet this new demand, and also being able to address increased volumes to increase your manufacturing throughput and so on. Other initiators might be a greenfield site investment. That's very easy because you are able to rethink all of your production concepts and make a plan that is considering new technologies. But on the right side, also site rationalization for a couple of reasons, to be more efficient or to consume less energy, gas, water, and electricity. This might be also a good starting point for investing in new technologies. Technologies we already had in a little bit. In this slide, you a little bit see a cluster. What is on the way today, what might come over the next 5 years, and which might also come on the very long term. Topics today, synchronized BOM, of course, this is what we are doing with PM systems, 5G and manufacturing operations, also turning into a standard technology, predictive product costing, predictive maintenance. These are topics that are already on the way. Topics that might come over the next couple of years is, I just pick here exoskeleton, which means equip the worker's clothing with sensors in order to guide his movements or to protect him from dangerous situation. Autonomous things, Industry 5.0, digital threats. These are topics that will come over the short term. And long term, there are topics. Metaverse, in my eyes, it's a little bit vague, and I can't really touch it, so I'm not sure what will come out of this section, but quite interesting is, of course, lights out manufacturing, which means no manual interaction in the manufacturing processes anymore. Sustainable packaging, these are quite reasonable. How to start? Just to mention, Eviden, we have an concept to approach customer situations, which is called, first we have a use case library of around about 60 use cases, the ones that I already touched on a little bit. And we also have then a discovery workshop using these use cases where we are sitting together with the customer, consider and understand your requirements and try then to figure out what are matching use cases, what's interesting for you, to add maybe some specific use cases for you, and then make a benefit calculation, what is bringing your smart factory investment in comparison what you are saving then in your production processes later on. At the very end, I would like to introduce this customer example I mentioned before. This is now a very big one. Sanofi, everybody of you probably will know Sanofi as a global pharma leader, but my colleagues from Siemens and Eviden, of course, will later on also have small and medium-sized examples for MES implementations. For Sanofi, we are implementing since 2019 their complete Factory for Zero initiative, which had at the beginning the name Manufacturing Production 2030, which means they wanted to rediscuss and re-architecture everything that's helping them to be more efficient until 2030. This program is quite successful on the way since 2019. We implemented for them use cases like factory control tower, golden badge analytics, plant maintenance tablet, and several types of digital twins to connect processes with plant, production line, and devices. We are integrating here Siemens Ops Center within Verum Pharma MES. We integrated with SAP. We are working with SAP MRI, Pico. So all these are technologies that are implied in this implementation. And for me, always quite impressive is the outcome. After you just look on this column on the very right side, we have 3 KPIs that are documented. So after 1 year of implementation, we increased the overall equipment efficiency by 20 points, which is a quite relevant increase, as you might know. We decreased the plant cycle time by 86%, and Sanofi's understanding on a plant cycle time, the time beginning by receiving a new recipe in a production process and production plant in Frankfurt, for example, until the first medicine is getting shipped. And we also reached a decrease of deviations in their production parameters from plant to plant by 20%. So that's quite impressive. And the most important point, everything what I'm mentioning here, we deployed based on AWS technology to 70 plants worldwide. So I think this should be a little bit like a motivation, why it's now a good time to go into a smart factory investment, smart factory implementation. I'm giving back to Niklas. Thanks.
Thank you, Andreas, for that insights. So I'll hand over to Timo from Siemens.
Thank you, Niklas. Siemens has been recognized as a trusted partner in the industry, focusing electrification, automation, as many know, also the digitalization. And I would say the go-to-market with Siemens is by the industry in a concept of smart manufacturing. And I would say our solutions covers both in industries in discrete and process in many industry sectors. And when it comes to partners, it is really important for Siemens to have a trusted reseller partners like Eviden to realize this potential for the customers in the digitalization journey. And for the Eviden, for advantage for Eviden is that Eviden covers many of these industries, but also the different solutions areas in a smart manufacturing context. For example, the manufacturing operations and manufacturing execution, product lifecycle management, equipment design, and equipment and plant simulation topics, for example. Siemens and Eviden has a long partnership. I think it's been more than 30 years working together. Eviden has global industry experts, as you can see, Center of Excellence in several countries globally, having 1,700 manufacturing specialists and over 300 MES consultants globally, for example. I would say that implementing the solution for the customer and also building the digitalization roadmaps and implementing and giving the first-hand support after go live. There is also the local reach that is important, being able to be close to the customer and also giving the support in the local languages. That is many times a requirement. And of course here focus in the Nordics, but also the customer may have the sites globally being able to support also the global aspect. There is several success stories, references that Andreas, for example, gave the glance, and I would like to bring one of those recent ones. Please, the next slide. Just mentioning the success story and the customer journey together with Spinnova, Siemens and Eviden. Spinnova is a company that has innovation on the product recyclable textile fiber out of the natural raw materials, and they are able to manufacture their products within the minimal CO2 emissions and the water usage, and having no harmful chemicals in the process. And basically, the Spinnova fiber is the alternative for the cotton in the textile industry. So what we have been doing together, we have been supporting Spinnova in this journey to scale up their business. And the next phase is to go globally. They have built their first factory in Finland, and first industrial scale factory, and now to expand and scale up their business based on different raw materials. Now the focus has been on the wood-based products, but to scale up their business on other raw materials and having the global aspect with the new sites and capacity. And we have been doing this journey together with Eviden, and the focus has been on the data-driven manufacturing with the several solution areas, and I'm happy to give more details on this topic together with Eviden, and you can have more insights from the Siemens website. Thanks. Back to Niklas.
Thank you, Timo. Then we have Juha Lunka and Mikko Sirien from Eviden. So yes, you will start.
Thank you, Niklas. A bit about the typical challenges which small and medium-sized manufacturing companies face today. Actually, those are basically the same as for large companies, but typically smaller companies don't have a big IT department or maybe an IT organization at all. Also, large IT implementation projects are not even possible. So typical main themes, first, cost pressure and efficiency. It's critical to collect data and get facts for decision making and continuous improvement. So that's the basis. One effective way to reduce waste and improve throughput is to have optimized production schedule. So that's where we can definitely improve. Next, faster innovation cycles to make new product introductions smoother through manufacturing process modeling, and ensure product changes are handled efficiently and in a reliable way. Sustainability. No one can avoid hearing talks about the sustainability. In practice, using resources efficiently, meaning energy and materials. Of course, regulation is getting more tight on that area as well. Make sure to track what was made and what was consumed in details. The as-built and footprint. Then quality. Everyone wants good quality product, and key areas include providing capabilities to ensure everything is done according to plan, and possible non-conformities are handled in a systematic way, again to help improving all the time. And for instance, following that tolerances are met in each each manufacturing step. About flexibility, easy to adapt when, for example, production process or materials change. Also flexibility in terms of user interface changes, and combining data from different sources, including all the legacy applications. And last but not least, lack of talent. For instance, everything needed information can be get from one user interface, meaning it's easier to onboard new employees with very clear and focused information for the operator. And then operator guidance.
Yeah, so this is my part, and what you have covered and Andreas has already covered. So I'm presenting you one solution, which is OpCenter X solution for those topics. So OpCenter X is a full MOM solution, so it offers MES capabilities, quality capabilities, and also scheduling capabilities. For example, from the MES capabilities, there is operator guidance, reducing human errors. So what you have mentioned, that you have work instructions, material information, and everything available for the operators to perform their work. Then there's also track and trace of production. So visibility to see where all the operations are, what if operators are late, and then making actions against those. And there's also visibility on the quality side. So as we are collecting the material consumption information, so batch numbers or serial numbers that are consumed while making the products, we can focus recall campaigns necessarily to only those issue batches or the products that have the parts from those batches. So no kind of reducing costs in that sense also. Then there's the scheduling model, so ensuring on-time deliveries as all the operations are settled against the resources and the actual production capacity. And in that sense also it is maximizing the utilization of the production. And in case there are some issues, scheduling model also allows what if simulations, so you can test different scenarios and try out different combinations and how to minimize the issue effects. And from the quality side, there is the non-conformance management and SPC. So for the non-conformance management, there is this wizard which collects all the necessary data for the engineers to work on those issues then later on, and also collecting the data in structured manner, so you may follow trends if there are some specific issues occurring often. And then SPCs allows you to react early on possible issues, so you can follow trends on the acquired quality data from the operations. So if there's trends going that the quality is going towards out of tolerance, then you can already react on those before they are out of tolerance. Why this tool is especially good for SMBs is that it is all on cloud, so it's full SaaS solution, and it can be operational in days. So there's no need to set up any servers and install solutions, databases, and start everything on those. Those are all handled on cloud. And This also reduces the capital and IT infrastructure costs, and importantly also reduces the workload from the IT department or the IT guys. So there's reduced workload from there. Even though it is on cloud, it's still modular tool, so it can be quickly scaled and deployed as once your operations grow or your demand grow and your requirements. And then we will go towards to a demo. So we have a demo where we will cover 5 use cases. Firstly, the scheduling, then execution, then quality data and SPC and the non-conformance management, and finally we'll show how the production is visualized for the managers. So firstly, we'll have the scheduling part, where the production planner can create several data sets, so try out different schedules, and we'll have all the production orders on the left side, and then we can create schedules automatically using different algorithms. So for example, we can schedule those operations forward from the first possible date and then backwards from the due date. And then all the operations are settled against the resource. And the resources have their own calendars, so the availability is modeled in the application. Then we'll move on to the operator view, where the operators can filter to see only their workstations and the operations that are settled on there. Then on that view, they have the work instructions, where what they can acknowledge that they have read those, and then collect the material consumption data, so the batch numbers or the serial numbers that they are assembling to the final product. And finally, they can collect the throughput, how many products are then made, and that will be uploaded to the other users. Then quality part, the operator can open the SPC inspection directly from the operator terminal, and in there they can go through all the attributes that are assigned to this inspection plan and collect the subgroup information, and those with the history data is collected on the system. So we can follow the trends of the quality data and raise the non-conformances if those are violated. Once done, we can again collect the throughput, how many parts we have went through the quality inspection. Finally, if the operators will notice any issues, they can open the non-conformance automatically from their user interface. So this will open the wizard from which they can assign all the data required for the quality execution or the corrective actions. So they will go through the product information, in which work unit this has occurred, what is the context of the failure, and what is the type of the failure. So in this case, we have scratch on top, and then the actions that should be taken to correct the issue. So how many parts have this issue, who is the responsible team or user, and then we can create several actions also if there's a couple issues and the other one is more severe than the other. And once we have collected all the data, we can still verify it, that everything is correct before we will submit it to the quality engineers, and they will have their own interface where they will see those actions open and work on those. And the operators can see from their user interface that there are open actions, so they cannot work on all the parts on the work order. Then the manager view is, we have work order dashboard where we have all the work orders visualized that how many are open, how many are starting today. If some work orders are delayed, then you can work on those typical specific work orders. And then for supervisors, they have their own areas where they are working, so they will have a bit more detailed information, so they know the operation level, what is in progress, what is late, and if there is some backlog. Yeah, that's about it from my side. Then I'll hand over back to Niklas.
Thank you, Juha. Then I'll hand over to Sylvain from Siemens.
Thank you, Niklas. Good morning and welcome, everybody. My name is Sylvain Carouet. I'm working for Siemens and doing business development for digital manufacturing within Europe, Middle East, and Africa. And today, I just propose you to make a little journey, cross the Atlantic, go to Mexico, and tell you a little story about what we have done with AppCenter X. So let me introduce you to Carlos. Okay, Carlos is working in a company called WKS. Okay, this company is located in the suburb of Mexico City in Monterrey. Okay, and they are producing safety doors. Okay, and of course, myself that is very much involved, I would say, in digitalization, I was surprised to understand that and to know that when we speak about digitalization with Carlos some months ago, he did not care at all about MES or operations management system. What he cares about was how he can build great doors, because it is his job. Okay, so of course, if he wants to be able to build these great doors, I would say, either wooden doors, metal doors, whatever, okay, he will need to be able to, for example, provide work orders within the shop floor. Also, to get some instruction, he needs to be able to schedule properly the operation that needs to be done to produce these doors. He needs to be able to understand if the material that he needs to produce these doors will be available or not. So that's something which is crucial for him to be able to produce these doors. Okay. And in a sense, he does need a kind of system to be able to produce these doors, which is what he cares about. Okay. And earlier today, Juha shared with you a certain number of challenges that SMB companies are facing. Of course, when we speak about WKS, we are in a typical SMB context, and WKS is also facing those type of challenges. For example, they have a lot of pressure to be able to deliver those doors quicker to the market. Okay, especially due to the competition, local competition, but also global competition. Okay. They also have pressure in order to be able to be flexible in the way they are providing products to the market. So customize the type of doors that they are delivering to a specific type of needs, to specific customer. So in fact, the product mix that they have to handle is increasing drastically, which is introducing complexity to the way they have to manufacture. Okay? So this is one of the challenges that WKS was facing. Also, they were facing a high level of turnover. Okay, so people are moving. So for Carlos, who is doing doors for many years, that's not a problem to produce doors. But for other people which are new in the factory, how are we sure that they are executing properly in different manufacturing steps to produce the door with the proper level of quality? Because of course, providing products with a proper level of quality is crucial on this market as on all other markets. Okay? So of course, all these challenges that WKS were facing, okay, I would say we're creating a need, okay, to use a kind of operations management system. Let's call it that way. Okay. And if you move to next slide, please. What was also surprising to me, if we consider that WKS is not alone with that need of using a kind of operations management system, okay. What was surprising to me is that 70%, okay, of companies in that market does not use MES. And why? It's because most of the time they are still using at the moment office tools. Could be Excel. This could be done also through ERPs sometimes, okay, operations management. But most of the time, to use a kind of image, they are using a hammer in order to drive a screw into a wall. Okay, they don't have the proper screwdriver to do that. Okay, because historically, MES and on-premise MES, for example, could be consuming in terms of IT resource to implement such a project. Okay, to manage change. Cost of this type of solution is a challenge. Okay, which was until now preventing small and medium companies to implement these type of solutions. And guess what? The good news is not anymore. And as explained by Yuan and Nico, this is also why we as Siemens have introduced OpCenter X on the market, which is the lightweight SaaS solution, which is dedicated to SMB manufacturing operations. Okay. So as said previously, it is built in the cloud. Okay. It's modular. So you don't need big IT teams. And we bring what WKS needs. Okay. It was mentioned order management. This was something which was necessary for in the WKS context. Track and trace, of course, scheduling and quality. Okay. So the idea here is that by implementing such a solution at WKS, Carlos is able to focus strictly on operations. Okay, and of course, we already brought a certain number of benefits to WKS, and this is also why they were able to afford to implement a project with OpCenter X. Okay, WKS as typical SMB did not have large IT teams. Okay, they do not want to maintain a big infrastructure with servers that needs to be considered. They do not want to take into consideration, I would say, a complex updates process to have and to keep their application up to date. Okay, so basically what they needed and what they want is to have a solutions where the cost of ownership is affordable for them and maintainable for them. Okay. They also wanted to configure to their needs. Again, what they need was just the essentials: order management, track and trace, scheduling, and non-conformance. Not more, but not less. Okay, so they were able to basically define the solutions, take the apps which are part of OpCenter X in order to address those needs. But also, as they were facing also growing demand, they want to be able to scale. Either later on, for example, if the number of users is increasing due to growing demand and they need to add additional workers within the shop floor, they will have very a quick way to scale number of users on the platform. They also have a possibility to scale their functional scope. Okay, if they want to use additional modules. Okay, they can then pick and choose from the OpCenter X platform additional modules which will bring extra functionalities to the platform. Okay. So these are typically the type of drivers to change and possibilities that allow WKS to implement OpCenter X. Now I want to introduce you with another person from WKS, and this person is Eduardo. And Eduardo is the plant manager of WKS. So he's the boss of Carlos. Okay. And in fact, Eduardo was very excited when we come with a solution and with the OpCenter X solution. And why he was excited? One of the reasons, not the only one, but one of the reasons was that for many years, okay, Eduardo was running operations within the factory using paper. Okay, so work orders with steps were delivered within the shop floor, okay, using the good old paper, and it was done for years like that. Okay, it could be a little bit surprising for us, which are used to be on mobile device to do a lot of things. We mostly think that nothing is printed anymore. Okay, but in fact, when we speak about SMB business and specifically WKS, okay, there is still a lot of paper which is used within shop floors. Okay, so basically, to produce, for example, metal doors, we are cutting trees. Okay? So this is something which was interesting also to remove, okay, all that paper from the factory and to collect all this information digitally, okay, and provide visibility through this different type of data that are needed through the manufacturing processes. And you can quickly see behind Eduardo on the picture on the right, a part of the screen, which is the OpCenter X main screen, where Eduardo have a possibility to access to all insights that he needs to understand how currently the production is running. Okay. For example, he can also quickly react to change. If an important customer, for example, is coming and changing the demand, he wants to have more doors than produced, or he wants to have also other type of doors. Okay, how can we manage that? Okay, quickly, minimizing this impact of that change, keeping the production operations synchronized, keeping resource utilization to a high level. These are the type of things that Eduardo wants to take into consideration, okay, when he's managing production operations. And let's have a few examples of what he was able to achieve after OpCenter X was implemented. First, from a pure scheduling perspective. Okay, as you understood, scheduling is part of the apps and modules which are included in OpCenter X. Okay, from approximately a time of 8 hours, which was needed before to build a schedules in order to release it to shop floor for execution, we were able to move that time to 30 minutes. And this is a very important aspect that needs to be considered, because when you are bringing that time down, this is opening new possibilities. Possibilities, for example, to manage what-if simulations. So now Eduardo, okay, is able to compare different scenarios in terms of capacity, in terms of demand level, okay, to understand a little bit what would be, based on main KPIs, okay, the one that needs to be released and executed. Okay. Also, frequent rescheduling allows the possibility to make impact analysis. Okay. If I've got a purchase order with material which is coming late, how do I measure the impact of that? Does it desynchronizing my schedule? How I can minimize the impact of that desynchronization? Based on frequent rescheduling, you can open these possibilities for the factory and be flexible and reactive to any unpredicted events. Okay. Also, if we move to the next slide, we can see that there was a great achievement regarding production, errors on material tracking, consumptions of material. As you have seen in the demo of Miko, you have a possibility to track consumptions of material that will be used during the production process. Okay, and you are not using spreadsheets anymore. You can scan. Okay, it can come directly from the machine if you have shop floor connection as well. You can have controls when you are entering the data into the system. Okay, so at WKS, the number of errors was reduced to 0, 100% decrease, sorry, of error in reporting productions. So this is something which is interesting, of course, for them, because reliability of the data that Eduardo, as a plant manager, has increased drastically. If we move to the next slide as well, we'll see that something which is important is how we produce and how do we keep a high level of efficiency in the way we are producing, especially in the context for WKS, as I was saying, of having quite a kind of a high level turnover rate. So a lot of new people which are coming to the shop floor because also of the context of growing demand. With OpCenter X, as said, all these new people have access to electronic work instructions, which is guiding them step by step regarding what they should do. Okay, so based on that, the overall efficiency of the shop floor was increased by 50% at WKS. Okay, and last but not least, if we move to the next slide, I want also to highlight the fact that I guess you understood that WKS is facing some challenges related to growing demand. So they are bringing a lot of more people within the shop floor, so they can scale easily the usage of OpCenter X. Okay, add these users into the system for there to declare on production, to access to electronic work instruction, as I was saying. Okay, so the tool is providing the proper level of flexibility, okay, that they need based on the fact that their business is changing, and not only in terms of number of users, but also later on, okay, regarding the apps and the functional scope that they want to use. So there are already some plans to add on top of what they are already using in terms of modules, some extra module which could be related to tool management, to genealogy, that type of things, okay, that they will need regarding the fact that the complexity of their production is increasing as well. So in summary, and I will finish with that, if we move to the next slide, I would say that OpCenter X was the solutions that WKS was needed, and the solution that WKS can afford based on the fact that it is full SaaS. Okay, it is cost friendly for SMB business as well. Okay, and the idea is to be able to implement fast in order to bring fast ROI. Okay, secure the data of WKS, minimize the cost of ownership of the solutions. So we maintain everything for them because it is full SaaS once again. And the final goals were also to streamline their decision making. So this is the examples that I wanted to share with you. We have also other customers, okay, which are using OpCenter X, but yeah, this is the one I wanted to share with you today. With that said, I will I will move back the stage to Niklas, who will bring you to the next step.
Thank you, Sylvain. And yes, please, we look forward to your questions. So please submit them to the chat if you have any questions. I think we can go to the next slide. Yes, like said, please submit questions in the chat. After this webinar, the full recording will be available shortly after this session, and you will also be able to download the presentation slides and all of the additional materials from the website. Also, please check your inbox that we will have a follow-up email with links to other resources and to unanswered questions and more. And we would also love to hear your feedback and thoughts about this. So when you get that email, please take a moment to fill out that a short feedback survey. With that said, I think we can jump to the Q&A. And we have, let's see. So we have one question here. The first one is, what main obstacles you face during 1, proposing to customer, and 2, specific solution development, 3, real-life implementation? Perhaps Andreas or Sylvain, if that could be.
Yes, I might just start. One standard obstacle is yet that we find this traditional organization scheme at customers. For example, that there's typically, even with big automotive OEMs, there is of course a product design division and there is a manufacturing division, and cooperation among them, it's not always perfect. Yeah. So, and if you ask the question, should I address something in a PM or an MES system, then of course the engineering division will say we do it in PM, while the manufacturing organization will say let's put this to manufacturing execution and or in a MOM architecture. But that's something that's addressed by many customers. One solution is to think more in products and not in organization, to have a product owner, for example, who is then responsible not only for the product design processes, but also for the production of these items. Okay, that's one of the main topics that we are typically faced to.
Thanks, Andreas. We have another question that can you elaborate a little about how you see the role of a system integrator and partner like Eviden in implementation of a SaaS solution?
So I can also take this a little bit. Say one important topic, and this is also the role of a system integrator. The role is to be vendor agnostic, yeah, because in a typical situation, Siemens is the leader in manufacturing, as we all know, but there are also other vendors. And in a typical brownfield implementation that we find, and we find also products from Dassault, from SAP, from many other vendors, and the system and integrators task, of course, is to understand what are the advantages of each of these products, what are the disadvantages, and especially how we can interface in this infrastructure. That's quite important. And also we see ourselves, of course, also responsible in a smart factory engagement, just to guide what can be done in your typical customer situation, what are use cases that might be interesting for you, and what are use cases that probably are not creating financial benefit finally. But somebody else would like to add?
Maybe just one thing that I could add on top of this is, so from a vendor perspective, from a software editor perspective, so such as Siemens, of course, we would love to always come to a kind of greenfield where we can position the portfolio that we can offer to the market, which is pretty wide. Today we speak about manufacturing operations management, but there is much more in the Siemens portfolio. But we know that the reality is different, as said by Andreas. There are already some landscape which is existing. Okay, this is why also the portfolio that we are proposing to a market, and OpCenter X in particular, are open systems. Okay, so it's easy, you can easily connect those systems to third-party system, either we speak about ERPs or whatever. Okay, in order to ensure what is, from our perspective, the most important, the digital continuity through the entire value chain. Okay, because if you want to be efficient in the way you are producing, okay, in the way you are managing your manufacturing operations, you need to break the silos, okay, between product and production design, between production execution, logistics operations, whatever. Okay, so this is all about what we speak about when we speak about digital thread. This is what was mentioned at the beginning of the call. How do we ensure that digital continuity, okay, with the Siemens portfolio or with some piece of the Siemens portfolio which are connected to an existing IT landscape. Maybe this is what I can add.
Thank you, Sylvain. And we are just on top of the hour. So, Mikko, if you could. Yes, we have, of course, local presence in the Nordics. So if any questions, please reach out to any of the names you can see on the screens. And with that said, I just want to thank you all for joining this webinar. And thanks to all the presenters. And yeah, thank you very much.